Girl boss CEOs are shutting down entire companies.
She gets up and she says, Patrick, this is very hard for me to say this. And let me tell you why it's very hard. I said, what's that? She says, ever since in high school, I wanted to prove to men that I can beat them. So when I graduated high school and college, I opened up my salon. We do very well. I've made millions of dollars. My people and my work that work at the salon, they do very well for themselves. I drive a nice car, I have a nice house, I have money, I have millions. I don't worry about any of that stuff. You know what decision I made last night? I said, what's that? She says, I want a husband. I no longer want to compete with men. I need them. And I'm like, what? She's saying this in front of 2,000 people with her sister sitting right next to her. Wow. And now she's getting emotional. How many 65-year-old women do we have to hear saying that I marched with the feminist movement and I bought into the fact that men are the enemy? I've never been married. I'm alone and I'm miserable and I wish I would have never bought into that philosophy.
Time and time again, women have proved me and other sane men right, while proving feminazis wrong. News reaching me right now is that a female CEO has put her company under. Low retail sales, low restaurant sales, and plummeting stocks. Julie Fels, CEO of Cracker Barrel, confessed that Cracker Barrel is just not as relevant as it once was. In the 3 months, Cracker Barrel's total revenue fell 1.9% compared to the year before, the company reported Thursday. Retail sales at stores open at least 18 months fell 3.8%, while restaurant sales fell 1.5%. The company's stock has declined nearly 37% this year and has plunged about 70% over the past 5 years. In this time and age of feminist propaganda, women are seen as being able to do things that are chiefly masculine. Society tells us that women can not only be good housekeepers, but they can also be good, if not better, authorities in businesses than men. Well, as you know, and if you don't know, it is all bullshit. Female bosses are shutting down entire companies. This is primarily due to the way they run the company. The archetypal authority figure is one that reflects masculine qualities. These boss babes alienate their female direct reports by trying too hard to act like men. If a woman has to try and act like a man to be a better boss or CEO, then it would make more sense to replace her with a male CEO, whose nature is to act more masculine. Women, even the hardcore CEO bitches, are feminine in nature. If they suppress their nature to become more masculine, it makes no sense for them to be replacing men in the office in the first place. Testosterone is the precursor of all risk-taking and enormous drive. Risk-taking and drive leads to enormous profits. When a woman is in a business environment, she produces more testosterone. Why not hire men who naturally have more testosterone and are more driven? Personally, I believe that the decrease of testosterone in the current generation of men is to blame for the horrible economy we have now, which leads to men operating businesses in a more feminine nature. Feminine nature alone is horrible for businesses. A business is not a family, and bad businesses make shitty economies. Some feminazis might even argue that there are studies stating that women make better leaders in the workplace than men. Again, I see that as a rich tripe. Being a good listener, more collaborative, or building relationships are not necessarily the best leadership traits. In order for one to be an effective CEO, one must learn that their workers are assets, not work buddies to build relationships with. An efficient worker does what you want them to do, no questions asked. If the worker does not do that, that makes him/her an unreliable asset. There is no time for a CEO to ask the opinions of their workers. Also, listening, collaborating, or building relationships are nothing without direction, goal sets, and planning. These are male key strengths. You can't run a good business on listening, collaborating, or building relationships only. But you can run a decent business on direction, goal sets, and planning only. Business needs to be done fast. Profits need to be made as quick as possible. The workers need to trust the boss's decision without question. And for that to be done, the CEO needs to be dominant and have control over their employees. There are a few women who are able to control their subordinates, who are male, with their female charms. A solely feminine personality has no place in that of a successful CEO's. For a business to be successful, it needs to have a CEO who rules with a strong dominant hand, something that femininity is not capable of doing. If you've been following my channel for a while, you would understand the entitled nature of women. But the crazy part is that women in business have an even more entitled nature than regular women. They say they have to work extra hard to prove themselves before they're taken seriously because they're women, and that we men rarely encounter it. Obviously, this is untrue. Any man who has tried to climb the corporate ladder can attest that he also had to work extra hard to prove himself in a male-dominant environment. No one goes, "Oh, you're male, so I'm going to give you an easier time." We men have to prove ourselves in the world as well, especially next to hard competition formed by other males for resources. Marissa Mayers, the most touted female executive, displayed some of these entitled behaviors while she was still the CEO of Yahoo, from flaking important business meetings to being late to most of her meetings, to keeping VPs waiting to have a meeting with her when she was just an engineer at Google. Everybody had to publicly sit outside her office, and she would see people in 5-minute increments. She would make VPs at Google wait for her. This entitlement behavior leads to incredibly stupid decision-making, such as the firing of a COO that you yourself advocated, and fired only because he annoyed you, and whose severance also totals a whopping $58 million. In modern times, it is actually significantly easier for a woman to become CEO, not because she is a hard worker or intelligent, but rather due to her being a woman. Better CEOs of male gender get looked over as a struggling company tries to get attention by having a female CEO. Almost all women who make it up to CEO position are from outside the company, and barely any are from having a high-ranking inside position. Furthermore, female CEOs have somewhat of a celebrity status just because they are female. This makes it easier for an incompetent female CEO to be hired by another company due to the elevated reputation of her being female. Honestly, I believe women should just stick to managing the home, while men stick to managing business. I mean, they only started working when? Men have been working since forever. Let men handle men's business. Feminists want more female CEOs because it sounds nice to the ears and fits their agenda, not because they actually care about the companies.
Forget STEM. Any of you girls want to use equal pay to sign up for this job? Because feminism, because anything men can do, we can do better. Reject delusions, embrace gender differences.
Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers.